Welcome. On behalf of DePaul University and the Coleman Entrepreneurship Center, I would like to welcome all of you to University Pitch Madness 2021. My name is Bruce Leach. I'm the Executive Director of the Coleman Entrepreneurship Center at DePaul. And this is our third Pitch Madness event. As we held this event in person during the summer of 2018 at 1871, and again in the summer of 2019 at IIT. And we look forward to being in person again in the summer of 2022. So stay tuned for that. It'd be great to get back and see everybody in person. Many of the schools that competed in those past events are also competing again tonight, including our defending champion, the University of Iowa. We also welcome our new schools to the competition this evening. The purpose for Pitch Madness is to showcase some great undergraduate student businesses to our respective university communities. And I know you will all be very impressed with the presentations this evening. Participating this year are teams from Michigan State University, Marquette University, DePaul, University of Iowa, WashU in St. Louis, IIT, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, Northwestern, and University of Chicago. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our DePaul team, especially Parna Grover, our Associate Director of the Coleman Entrepreneurship Center, and all the representatives from our participating schools for your ideas and all the planning that went into tonight's event. Aparna, would you like to say hello to everybody and give your welcome, and thanks again for all your efforts.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to our Pitch Madness event. We're very excited to have you, and I'm excited to hear all the pitches. Good luck.
Thank you. Parna is going to be tallying the scores for our judges, so she'll be busy on that job this evening. So next up, I would like to introduce our judges who'll be asking questions after each presentation and scoring each participant team. So as I introduce each judge, if you want to turn your camera on and say hi to everybody real quick, that'd be great. First up is Collene Egan. Collene is the first female CEO of the Illinois Science and Technology Coalition, which supports the innovation economy of Illinois through data advocacy and policy, innovation programming, and STEM education. Collene is the classic serial entrepreneur, founder and C-suite executive, having led companies that include 212 Degrees, Zula USA, Tiger Puppet Studios. These are some crazy names. Aku and My Best RX. Collene is also a friend of DePaul and a founding member of DePaul's Women in Entrepreneurship Institute. Collene, welcome. You want to say a quick hello?
Thanks, Bruce. And yeah, some crazy names, but you know, the crazier names got acquired. So I'll go with the crazy names. Thanks so much for having me here today, and good luck to everyone.
That's great. Thank you, Collene. Next up is Lisa Laws. Lisa's a proven practical and motivational team player who enjoys brainstorming and coordinating efforts to achieve a common goal. Lisa began her career at James McHugh Construction Company as an assistant project manager in 2006, then URS Corporation as a graduate structural engineer in 2008. Lisa's also held a number of positions for the city of Chicago, including Deputy Chief Operating Officer for Department of Transportation, Water and Streets and Sanitation. She also served as First Deputy Commissioner for the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events before quickly shifting to Acting Chief of Resource Management for Chicago's COVID-19 operations team. Needless to say, Lisa's had a very busy year. Lisa, you want to say hi to everybody?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to hear everyone's pitches. We failed to mention what I do now. I'm Chief Operating Officer at 1871 now. So we look forward to also welcoming you back in person, hopefully at 1871 this summer for the next Pitch Madness competition. So thank you, everyone, and good luck.
Sorry, Lisa, I left that off your bio, but the first year, just a quick side story, that we did Pitch Madness, there were 5 schools involved, and we were in the auditorium at 1871, and Betsy Ziegler walked in and she said, "I think you're seriously over fire code with all the people in this room." So I didn't know whether we were in trouble or not. And then she jumped up on stage and started taking pictures of how many people were in the room. So that's when we knew we were onto something here. So it's good to have you tonight. And finally, Troy Henikoff. Troy is an active member and mentor with Techstars, the co-founder of Accelerate Labs, which became Techstars Chicago in 2013. He also helps manage the Firestarter Fund, teaches entrepreneurship at Northwestern's Kellogg School of Business, and is on the board of the Chicagoland Entrepreneurial Center. Troy was previously the CEO of OneWed.com, president of Amakai, I probably messed that up, and co-founder of CEO of SurePayroll.com. Troy also built the technology for Jellyvision and served as president of Systemetrics. How much of that did I mess up, Troy?
Well, again, you forgot my current role at Math Venture Partners.
I know, I'm only reading the profile you guys sent over, so we often forget that we actually still have a current job.
Okay. Yeah, it's great. So it's great to be here. Thanks, Bruce. And I am really looking forward to seeing all the pitches. I love seeing these new ideas and am excited to see them. So let's get going.
Yes, if you value a person in the amount of hoodies they have, I think Troy's already won that contest for this evening, from what we can tell. So thanks for being here. Okay, so what are the judges
I
going to
can
be?
change them between pitches, a different hoodie.
Yes, exactly. So tonight, each team is going to be evaluated on 6 overall criteria. So the judges will be scoring points in each of these categories. The first is the idea and concept. Next is market need, value proposition, feasibility, sustainability, and then finally the passion in the overall presentation. So judges will score after each team presents, and those scores will be compiled by a partner to determine the top teams at the end of tonight. Also, we got a whole social media thing going on, so we'll be keeping the conversation with clips and polls about Pitch Madness. So if you want to check that out, it's hashtag Pitch Madness 2021 with no spaces. Feel free to comment or post on your social media accounts with the same hashtag so we can reshare your posts during the next couple hours. So of course, we got to go into a few ground rules and then we'll kick things off. For tonight's competition, I'll be introducing each school representative who will then provide a brief introduction of their entrepreneurship program at their university and then introduce their respective team. Each team will have 3 minutes for their presentation, followed by 5 minutes of questions from our judges. I will do my best to be the timekeeper, and I'll give everybody a 30-second warning to wrap things up so that we stay on time tonight. Just a reminder to the participants, please keep your microphone on mute until it's your turn to participate. And oh, by the way, in case you hear a lot of yelling and screaming while I've got my microphone on, I'm about 1 block from Lollapalooza, and Grant Park is going absolutely bonkers this weekend. So if you hear sirens and people yelling, that's what's going on in my world. Okay, well, let's get started. First up is actually my undergrad alma mater, Michigan State University. It's hard for me tonight having the split loyalty, but actually I had nothing to do with MSU going first this evening. They won the very first Pitch Madness in 2018, and I know this will be a great way to get us going this evening. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Paul Jakes, Managing Director of the Bridges Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Michigan State. And Paul, why don't you get us going?
Thanks, Bruce. Let me share my slides here. Everybody see these okay?
Looks great.
Great. As Bruce said, my name is Paul Jakes, Managing Director of Venture Creation at the Bridges Institute for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Appreciate you letting us be in the competition and being there. We did win the first one, which was great at 1871. We had a great time. Want to look at our tagline. Our tagline is "What's Your Venture?" And "What's Your Venture" is what we do. It's not just about startups. It's about any type of startup. So we work with nonprofit, for-profit, any type of idea. So I just wanted to stress that. About our institute is we've been around for about 9 years, and we work with both undergrad and grad students. As you can see some of the numbers, pretty proud to say that within the 9 years, we've got up to number 14 in the Princeton Review for undergraduates. Within those 9 years, we've launched about 519 companies since 2012. And then we have a minor, we don't have a major in entrepreneurship. So we have about 733 students that go through the minor per year. And that's a mix of students. So those are all undergrads generally that go through that minor. Growing every year, we have new ideas coming through. We're excited to be in the competition and look forward to speaking to everybody throughout the year and hopefully see you in the process throughout the year. I'm very excited to announce our team, CAPNOS. We have Jake pitching today and love to hear from him. All you Spartans out there, go green. And I'd like to introduce you, CAPNOS.
Cool, thanks, Paul. I'll share my my screen now. Everybody can see my slides all right?
You're good.
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm Jake Roach, co-founder of CAPNOS, where our mission is to help people quit vaping, prevent lung disease, and save lives. Vaping is killing people, and we need to take action now. There's over 50 million people vaping globally, and 85% of these people are trying to quit, but don't know how. That's because after surveying over 1,000 vape users, we've discovered that 2 out of 3 users are struggling with the behavioral addiction and the act of vaping itself, which is a problem that very few companies seem to be solving. Current products on the market just aren't cutting it. NRTs only address the physiological addiction and nicotine, and other products are missing the technology that we have, which is why we've created the CAPNOS Zero. It works just like this. With each hit, a valve pops open, which creates a deep hit feeling that users are craving and satisfies the oral fixations and hand-to-mouth gestures that people have to vaping. There's zero smoke, zero nicotine, and zero charge. Only air goes through the zero, accompanied with mint flavor using essential oils infused into caps. Our business model revolves around selling a starter pack and replaceable caps to generate recurring revenue. We're currently converting our provisional into a utility patent and do not need FDA approval. Our preliminary studies show a 50% reduction in vaping, and we're pursuing a larger trial with partners at MSU to further validate those results. We've identified 3 primary personas, and we can reach these customers through various channels, but understand that through current market data we've collected, that stressed out Sarahs will be our primary end customers. And going to market, we're focusing on 5 distribution channels that we've already established partnerships with, like the Quit Vaping app and Amazon. We have pre-orders from across 5 different countries, all through our Shopify website, and we'll continue selling direct and through retail. We have highly competitive margins and have consignment deals with 4 East Lansing store locations that will allow us to break even after selling just over 3,400 units. We aim to start small so we can take this data and scale rapidly to reach a mass global market. We project selling 10,000 units this year, reaching revenues of $260,000, or reaching over $1 million in revenue the next year, and tripling this in the following year after utilizing all 5 distribution channels and achieving global scale through our multi-year plan. Our core team brings combined experiences in supply chain, marketing, finance, and data analytics from both large corporations and previous startups. And our board of advisors also bring experience in medical devices, behavioral medicine, regulatory pathways, and go-to-market strategy. We've already begun production, but with the funding from this competition, we can raise enough to cover our logistics costs and propel our launch. So judges, join us on our mission to help prevent lung disease and save lives. So let's put a cap on vaping. Thank you.
Oh, great job, Jake. You came in right at 3 minutes. That's unbelievable. If everybody else does that tonight, I'll be shocked. So really good job.
Nice.
Okay, if the judges want to turn their mic and cameras on, I'll just, whoever would like to ask the first question, we'll just start there and then rotate to the other 2.
Sure. So Jake, really nice job. I love your mission. I love what you're trying to do. You had some pretty robust projections there in terms of growth and revenue, and I'm really curious to learn how you're going to acquire those customers. How do you even know you exist, and how are you going to actually grow that base?
Totally. Yeah. So just to break down kind of the sales and marketing strategies. So I mentioned 5 distribution sales platforms that we're going to have. Two already that we're not even utilizing. Every pre-order we've had has been direct to Shopify with no spend on marketing whatsoever. And we've been seeing parabolic growth already. So when we launch, we're going to be listed on the Quit Vaping app, which will have an exclusive partnership there. They're an application with over 400,000 users all trying to quit vaping. So it's an extremely targeted platform. Through research there, we found out that other products on that site are averaging about 200 to 300 orders a week. So we think that's going to be a great platform for us. Also with Amazon, we have a partnership with the Launchpad program, which is an innovative opportunity for products to be listed on this innovative landing page through Amazon. And we'll be working directly with an account executive, which will be another great channel for us. And then in terms of sales and marketing, we'll be placed in a few retail locations, and that's just going to be around the East Lansing area for now, just so we can kind of see how the product is turning around on the store shelves. And then we can kind of transpose that out to other regions. And then in terms of directing traffic to our website, this is going to come with building a huge following across our social media. TikTok has been huge for us. We've been able to generate lots of pre-orders just by posting viral content on there, and just building our community, and letting people know that we're out here to help people quit vaping.
And one quick follow-up, when you say lots of pre-orders, what is that number?
Yeah, so to date, we have about 250 pre-orders, but that is about 95% of those are just within the last 2 months. And that's because we've kind of been low key while we've been focusing on product development and R&D. But just since we finished our product, we have final pictures, we have packaging, we've started to push a lot more pre-orders just in the last couple months.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job, Jake. And as a former oncology nurse, I really appreciate your efforts here. I have a quick question on manufacturing. Who is manufacturing? And I love your tag, though, putting a cap on vaping.
Thank you. Yeah, so right now we're being manufactured in Guangdong, China, just because we have my co-founder fortunately speaks Mandarin Chinese, so it's easy to negotiate with them. And also just because this supplier that we've partnered with is able to manufacture everything in-house. So we source a couple of the components, including the valve and flavoring components, and they construct everything in-house, including the packaging. So we're literally just getting the completed product in our hands.
So the plastics recyclable?
Yeah, so the plastic is upcycled from sustainable plastic resin, and we have certifications for that. And the packaging is entirely recyclable as well. So we do have a huge focus on sustainability.
And one last question on your oils. Where are you sourcing those from?
Yeah, so those are also from a flavoring supplier in China, and those are completely safe for human consumption, natural grade essential oils.
Organic?
Yes, yeah.
So you have a report on that to give to investors?
Yes, I believe it's an MSDA report.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And I also had some questions. Mine were mostly regarding the apparatus itself. So does the apparatus currently have like a air filter in it?
So to go inside the components, so in the bottom, if you can, I know the background kind of makes it disappear a little bit, but in the bottom, there's essentially a placeholder and there's a valve. It's like, think of like a water bottle valve or something that is on ketchup or mustard bottles. And that's basically sits in the base of here. So it's pretty much empty besides the valve being in the bottom. And then in the top, there's 2 cotton cores. And these are what are infused with that essential oil. And that sits on top of here. And then when airflow pulls through the essential oils, and that's absorbed through the epithelial lining in the mouth to feel the flavor.
Got it. And your flavor is mint. Are you planning on expanding to other flavors? And if so, which ones?
Yes. So we've conducted a lot of different research on the flavoring components. Mint obviously being the most popular for smoking and vaping users. So that's what we decided to go with first, just to limit the number of SKUs we have. But we do want to expand it to things like strawberry or watermelon or mango, a lot of the fruity flavors that appeal to younger generations. But we wanted to go with mint, which is a fan favorite right off the bat.
All right. And
Okay,
last one, how many,
that's it,
how many
Lisa.
uses per things? Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry. Yep, we're over 5 minutes. So thank you, judges. Great questions. Jake, good job. you can breathe easy now and watch everybody else. Judges, just a reminder to go ahead and start posting your scores while the next university provides their overview. So next up, we have Marquette University, and Kelsey Otero is here, the Associate Director for Social Innovation at Marquette. So Kelsey, you are on.
Thanks, Bruce, and awesome job, Jake. This is a really exciting event for us to be part of. My name is Kelsey Otero. I'm the Director of Innovation at Marquette University 707 Hub, and this is our center of gravity for innovation on campus. We work with students from every single college and major. We offer them resources to explore idea creation, launch businesses, and think about creating change on campus. We are home to the Kohler Center for Entrepreneurship, Social Innovation Initiative, and Women's Innovation Network. And we've seen so many natural collisions occur from being able to house these 3 different programs and initiatives. And now I want to introduce our presenter from Marquette University, Erin Nugent, and her fantastic sustainable business, New Jenny.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Nugent, and I am so honored to have the opportunity to talk to you today about my company, New Jenny, and something that I care deeply about, which is sustainability. Let me just make sure this is full screen. Sorry about that. And here's my story. In high school, my brother worked at our local dump and would come home and talk about how shocking it was that there were so many pairs of perfectly good shoes just carelessly thrown away. This concept has stuck with me for years, and I really want to be part of the solution. Why does sustainability in the shoe industry matter? 300 million shoes are thrown away every year in the United States alone. 23.5 billion shoes are produced globally annually, and it takes over 2,000 gallons of water to produce only 1 pair of shoes. The global climate crisis is only getting worse by the day. We create massive amounts of waste, with 95% of shoes ending up in landfills, creating a huge negative impact on the earth. Smartly and sustainably manufacturing shoes to last and adapt with us is one way consumers can help make a difference. My product offers a modular and interchangeable option, which I believe to be the future of the footwear industry. My product focuses on Chelsea boots specifically because they have very similar designs across all brands. And I chose this because my generation really cares about the footprint we're leaving behind, both literally and figuratively. And this is why I want to create change in the footwear industry with my sustainable modular shoe. These are among my first designs, and I only started working on this about 3 months ago, but I'm extremely excited, and I've gained a lot of support from the local community and different professionals in the footwear industry that I've shared my ideas with. I'm still very much in the beginning stages of development, but my goal is to make an extremely easy to use and simple shoe sole changing system that can be used across several different designs of my products. And then here's a little bit about the design. This is the first prototype that I made using the 707 Hub's 3D printers. It's really small because I had never 3D printed anything before, so I didn't want to waste anything. But basically, this is the bottom part, which has male parts, and this is the top backwards. Sorry, this is the bottom part, which has female parts, and the top part that has male parts. This is 3D filament called TPU, which is more flexible, so it actually feels like a rubber shoe sole instead of PLA, so it's very flexible, and the 2 pieces just snap together, creating a different look. And I also have a full-size prototype, here it is, that I've been working with, and I plan to continue to print and test out different designs over the next few weeks. My product fills a gap in the footwear industry using modular designs so that the outsoles can be swapped out to create different looks, or if something breaks, gives consumers the opportunity to easily replace their sole. And this also fills a huge demand in the footwear industry for more sustainable options, and there's a lot of room for growth in this part of the shoe industry. Sorry, Chelsea boots have transcended fashion trends and timelines and have stayed in style since designed by Queen Victoria's bootmaker in 1837. I plan to have a pre-order business model so that we stay environmentally conscious in all areas of the business and only produce the amount that customers purchase. This type of business model has become increasingly more popular recently, and brands like Telfar have thrived using it. I also want to be a direct consumer brand with online sales and a mid price point goal of around $125. And if I still
Hey,
have
Aaron, you're at 3 minutes, so
why
you need
McInerney
to
is the
wrap it
bolder
up.
solution for the future, here are a few more reasons. We have a lower cost to the planet, cruelty-free with different materials like cactus leather, easily customize your look, save space, and a unique and innovative design. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, a little over 3 minutes, but good. I'm glad you fought through that. You couldn't have talked much faster. So good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Great ideas so far this evening. Judges, who wants to take the first crack? Troy?
I'll jump in real quickly.
Okay.
Aaron, so I like the idea. I like the sustainability angle, obviously, and I've seen a bunch of these, right? Everything from Allbirds to Kangos, which came out of Northwestern recently. I'm curious what you learned in the customer discovery process about what the customers want that they're unable to get today and how you deliver that to them. So what is the job to be done here? What has the customer told you they want?
That's a great question. So my idea came out of my friends and I all recently were really into platform boots this last season and the year before. So platform Chelsea boots, which all look basically identical. And there's just a lot of waste in this part of the fashion industry because it's the same look, but maybe you have a different color top of the boot, like the leather part is maybe white or black. And then the sole is typically always black or 1 inch or 2 inches. So we all had these boots that looked exactly the same with 1 or 2 aspects that were a little bit different. And people were looking for like a puzzle piece solution kind of, so that you can just swap out different looks much more easily with a smaller footprint.
I guess what I'm getting at is, was this an idea that you and your friends had, or was this something that you went out and actually did customer discovery, talked to 100 consumers, did surveys, et cetera, and what was the insight that you got from that?
Yeah, so this is an idea that I had, and then I was talking about it with my friends, only started in March through the Brood Ideas Challenge at 707 Hub. So I did a little bit of customer exploration there by sampling people in my classes, and overall gained a bit of perspective on people were interested in this. I think I had with women like an 85% saying yes, that they would be interested in buying this.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Great job, Aaron. You said 87% of women. What about men?
So while I do want to target gender fluid individuals, like so unisex wise, mostly the men at Marquette do not wear Chelsea boots. So I only sampled students at Marquette, and I found that it wasn't the best demographic to sample. So off the top of my head, I don't remember, but there was like a third option in my survey that said would not be interested in buying Chelsea boots regardless, and majority chose that option.
And I'm glad you clarified that too, because yeah, when I heard the male and female prototypes, it kind of like made me sigh a little bit, because I would prefer to hear the unisex. Okay, cool.
With the prototypes, I should have clarified that more. I just meant, I'll show you on the bigger one. So there are inserts on, this is the female part of the shoe, and then this is the male part. I don't think yeah. So these like stick out. I don't think you can see it, but if that makes more sense.
All right, great idea. Thank you. About the, I'm more concerned with the durability as it relates to the price point. So I noticed that you have vegan leather, using vegan leather. Do you have any kind of life, like timeline, like projected timeline on the life of the shoe?
That's a great question. So I was working with a supplier called Deserto, and they make a vegan cactus leather. It's all very new, so I do not have that information, honestly, but a huge part of the business that I would want to implement that's important to me is circularity. So eventually, as things developed, having a buyback program or like a sole swap out program where you can send back your soles and we can melt them down, recycle them, and create new products.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a time for one more question if anybody's got one they didn't ask. Okay, good enough. Great job, Aaron. Great job, Aaron. I think with those Milwaukee winters, you're gonna need boots, that's for sure.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right, next up, we have DePaul University. And so I would like to invite Emily Doyle, our program manager at the Coleman Entrepreneurship Center, to the stage to do her thing and introduce our student. Emily?
Yes, can you hear me and see our slide?
Yes.
Good, okay, great. Hi everyone, yes, I'm Emily Doyle. I am the program manager at DePaul University's Coleman Entrepreneurship Center. We're so excited to host this event tonight and have so many great partners in other universities. The Coleman Foundation was founded in 2003 and the Coleman Center was funded by the Coleman Foundation and started in 2003. And our mission is to support students and alumni and community members as they develop businesses. We teach the entrepreneurial mindset. And so we have a lot of different programs throughout the year, such as our big idea competition, our purpose pitch competition, which showcases purpose-driven startups of both students and alumni. We have workshops, and we also host twice a year a startup internship program. We currently have 27 students working through out the summer, 125 hours. Some of them earn some course credit and they all receive a stipend for their work, so they're paid for the internship. So we're really proud and excited about that program. We are also excited to kick off and launch our Social Impact Accelerator program in the fall. It's a 7-week boot camp beginning in October. So like everybody else, we are just thrilled to be back on campus in the fall and welcome students, alumni, community members, friends back into the center. We are located in the Loop on the 7th floor of the DePaul Center. So please stop by and visit us this fall. I am so excited to introduce our student, Drake Bursiaga. He's a junior graduating in 2023, studying computer science and business. And he's going to tell us about his company called Parkster, which is going to help us all ease the pain of not being able to find parking in Chicago and across the country. So I will leave it to Drake.
Thanks, Emily. I'm working to get this across the world, actually, but
All right.
we'll keep working. So my name is Drake Bursiaga. I'm the CEO and founder of Parkster.ai, and I'm proud to represent DePaul University. Tell me if this problem sounds familiar to you guys. About 1.5 years ago, my friends and I were driving around campus at DePaul, and we couldn't find parking. We wanted to go to the quad, but all the parking spots, they looked like this. And the street parking looks like this. And the parking garages were full too. So my friends and I spent 20 minutes going up and down the streets of Chicago searching for parking. And that's when I came up with the idea of Parkster.ai, where we try to help drivers in the city find parking instantly and on the go through artificial intelligence. I like to think of Parkster as the Google of parking. So think about Google. You have a question, you push a button, you magically get an answer. Same thing with Parkster. You want parking, so you push a button and you magically get directions to a parking space. But this isn't magic. We do this through artificial intelligence. We have a patent pending artificial intelligence algorithm that's trained to detect whether parking spaces are available or unavailable, and operates at around a 97% accuracy rating. It's super fast because it makes all those predictions in milliseconds, and it's super scalable because we have extremely low server fees. And for one test case we have in Maryland, for one camera, we can track over 100 parking spots. So the pitch is we provide the software, and then we pair it up with a camera, because that's how we get our real data, and then you get instant parking. Here's a real demo. So this is working with real data, and all these locations are DePaul centric, because that's why I personally experienced this problem. Like with other universities, you have a gym, you have the library. This could work with cities because we have downtown here too. But let's say whenever DePaul goes back on campus, I'm driving around with my friends, I don't want to spend 20 minutes looking for parking again. So I'll go to Parkster.ai. I'll click on the quad. And right now, the software is working in real time, trying to find an available parking space. And it detected one. So it delivered the exact coordinates to the user in the form of Google Maps. So now we could just go to that parking spot. And on the back end, whenever our AI algorithm ran, it actually counted the total number of available parking spaces in that area. And each parking space gets its own unique ID. So we could provide parking spaces for drivers all around the world. Thank you.
Great job, Drake. I thought you were going to turn us into computer programmers with that last slide, but it's very, very impressive to actually see your application running live.
Thank you.
Colleen or Lisa, you want to go first this time? We'll give Troy a chance to take a breath.
I'll go first.
I'm sitting on my hands. I'm trying not to go first.
Yeah, all right.
Really basic questions. I'm not going to get to city operations, so I'll just like have really basic questions. One is, can you define what a parking spot is?
Right. So a parking spot could be street parking, a parking garage, or a parking lot. It's
Okay.
literally just the lines for a parking garage or parking lot where people park. And for street parking, it's just anywhere on the street that's legal where drivers can park, and that's a parking spot.
So I'm going more to like dimensions, right? So like on the street.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I see. So we actually, the AI model I made, it just goes and it detects cars. So if a car is in, at this specific location of a section on a street, and it picks up 2 or 3 cars, then that's kind of how it works. But I can't go into detail because it's
got it.
Yeah, but
The second one is there some type of queue? So if there's several people looking for a parking space and it comes up for 5 people, is there some type of queue format?
yeah. So whenever, I think kind of what you're getting to is parking dibs. Is that right, Lisa? Okay. Yeah. So I know other companies, they do parking reservation systems. This isn't for that. It's for people who don't have time to make a reservation. It's for instant parking on the go. And we kind of challenged that idea of having to make a parking reservation, because whenever we build up enough cameras around a certain section of, let's say we get 5 streets in Chicago, if a parking space is not available anymore, then it just provides the next parking spot in the queue, which that's already set up with my back-end technology.
I have 2 quick questions because I love the idea, but I think I might get really frustrated as a person living in the city if I'm driving around and you direct me to a space and by the time I get there, it's gone, right? Because I'm like a great U-turn driver in the city to grab my spot.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with you. That's why Professor Leach, I know you hate this word. I pivoted from going B to C at first to going B to B. I think this would be a great application for parking lots for now. But eventually, whenever I build up a network of cameras in a wide radius, then that's where the technology can be beneficial in street parking. Because if somebody did park in that parking spot, if I was a driver, I wouldn't use that app again. So we need more cameras to track all these other parking spots. So yeah, that's a great question, Colleen.
And I have one last one on that too, off of Lisa's defined parking. So I have an XC70, so my car's a little longer as opposed to my daughter's Prius, right? How do you determine, if that parking spot would be good for me?
Yeah, so again, I can't really go into specifics, but I can say with the training data, this works on Priuses, smart cars, big vans, soccer mom vans, and it could even detect if a motorcycle is there or not. And then also, if you wanted to go into more detail, if a person is standing right there, it won't pick up that person because it only tracks cars and vehicles. And then I guess Troy, if you had any questions.
Yeah, I'm very curious about your revenue model. You didn't talk about revenue at all.
Sure.
And I think I understand basically what the technology is doing and how it works and how it could benefit a consumer. But how do you make money doing this?
Right. So going for B2B, right now, we literally just launched last week at the National Parking Convention in Dallas. So right now, we know that per instance, it costs us 5 cents to help someone, right? So we have a licensing fee where we charge 7 cents per instance. So we automatically break even and get a 2-cent profit per instance. And
Who are you charging?
Cities, because so City of Fort Worth, we're trying to close on a deal. At some of the parking lots that we toured, they only have about 60% parking lot occupancy. We want to get them to 100%. So after we direct drivers to those lots, on top of the instance fees, we also profit share around 30 to 20%. So we break even automatically because, you know, it's a sales lead. We want people to go to these lots. And then if they have a difference in revenue from using our technology versus not using our technology, then we take a small percentage of that.
So your customer is really the owner of the parking lot, in this case, the city, but you didn't
Exactly.
tell the story from that perspective. Like I would have
Right.
loved to have heard you tell the story. Yeah, it's frustrating for the consumer, but imagine the person who owns the parking lot that's sitting at 40% occupancy while the drivers are driving around frustrated. We solve both their problems.
Right.
We
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
direct the driver to the parking lot space, and we help the parking lot generate revenue, and we get a revenue share.
Right. Right.
Now all of a sudden it's making sense, right?
Yes. 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 Thanks
Great
for
perspective. Okay, good job, Drake. Troy, great comment at the end. I know he's going to have that implemented in his pitch deck in about 30 seconds. So very good. All right, we're moving on. Next up is our defending champion, the University of Iowa. And I would like to ask Lynn Allendorf, director of the John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center at Iowa, to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. And we're very hopeful, fingers crossed, that we'll repeat, but a lot of great competition. So yes, I'm with the John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center at the University of Iowa. We have a very, I would say, comprehensive and large academic program, as well as we do a lot for entrepreneurs, whether those are faculty, staff, students, or community members around the state. We run the NSF I-Corps program on campus. We also have modified that program to take it statewide. We'll teach that in about 12 different communities all across the state of Iowa this next year. I just have some data to share with you. In the past year, we worked with about 275 startup companies. We awarded nearly $500,000 in seed funding to several of those companies. We had over 15,000 total participants in our programs, across community members, programming, academics, and we had nearly 5,000 students take classes in our programs. We had 451 students graduate with some sort of degree, whether it was a BA from our enterprise leadership program in liberal arts and sciences, or a BBA in entrepreneurship and management in the College of Business. We also have certificates for really any undergraduate on campus, as well as programs in the MBA area. So I want to introduce Sprayer Mods. Our competitor from this year, Holly Bennett, is studying has graduated just recently in computer science, and she will be presenting. And then Holly's partner, Blake, is also a computer science major and is joining us. So welcome, Holly.
Hello. All right. Hello, my name is Holly Bennett, and I'm the founder of Sprayer Mods, and I'm here with Blake Espeland, the co-founder. So right now, there's a problem with the way that farmers do weed management. Although herbicides only need to be applied to the 10% of a field where weeds actually are, they get applied to the entire field. So 90% of herbicides are being wasted. This is an especially severe problem for wheat farmers, for whom herbicides are their second largest input cost. This wastage also increases the environmental effects of farming because a lot of these herbicides have really nasty effects on human health or environmental health. So Sprayer Mod's solution is to add a system to a farmer's existing sprayer, which allows them to apply herbicides only to weeds. So we do this by mounting cameras, taking pictures of the ground in front of the sprayer. We take pictures from those cameras and run them to a computer running the same sorts of algorithms as self-driving cars used to pick up stop signs to detect weeds in those images. Then we send it a signal to open a valve and apply herbicide only if a weed is detected. We'll be selling, it costs us $20,600 to produce each one of these, and we'll be selling them for $40,000. So there are some existing systems which allow farmers to apply herbicides only to weeds, and farmers are very interested in them. However, they rely on spectral technology, not computer vision, to detect weeds. Spectral technology is much more expensive than computer vision, and it can't tell the difference between crops and weeds, so it can only be used to clear fields that are out of production. Farmers can't use it on their crops. I'm really proud of the team that I put together for this. I'm the founder and CEO, and I handle mostly business and some hardware programming. Blake Espeland is our computer vision specialist. I brought him off the University of Iowa robotics team. And Benjamin Lang does our electronics engineering. He works on electrical systems in the Iowa Air National Guard. Currently, we have a functional prototype, you can see it up there, and a provisional patent on our weed detection system. Over the next 2 months, we'll be doing tests on a ATV mounted sprayer to produce our MVP, followed by our beta testing, actually getting this out for farmers for the last spray of the year in October. To get to that point, we're seeking an additional $30,500 in funding to allow us to purchase beta testing parts and swap out unacceptable parts from alpha testing. Sprayer Mods lets farmers reduce their financial and environmental costs of weed management by precisely applying herbicides to weeds. Thank you.
All right, Holly, great job. Are you going to answer the questions, or is Blake going to also?
Yeah, I'm going to pitch in case there's technical here.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I can't help myself. I'll jump in. So, so really nice job. I love what you're doing, especially the fact that you're going to reduce the impact of herbicides and the amount of herbicides being used, not just for the financial impact, but more importantly, the environmental impact. But, you know, I have to admit, I was kind of shocked when you said it's going to cost $40,000. I would love to know, what are the unit economics, not for you, but for the farmer? Why is the farmer, who are barely getting by as it is, going to want to dole out $40,000 for this device? How does that make sense?
To put that in comparison, farmers are spending, most farmers that I talk to spend at least $100,000 on herbicides every year. And it gets much worse. I was talking to one guy who every time he fills up his sprayer, it costs him $26,000.
So have you done unit economics for a farmer? You know, if you invest this $40,000, here's how much the average farmer will save per year. Here's what maintenance will be. And so a savings model?
Yes. So there's a lot of variability. For most farmers, they can expect to save $18,000 a year. So that's on 2,000 acres, you're going to save $9 an acre. There are some individuals who will save much, much, much more because they're dealing with herbicide resistance and thus have to buy really expensive herbicides.
Yeah, so if they save $18,000 a year, but it costs them $40,000, it's going to take 3 years till they get it paid back.
Yes, farmers look for, when I've talked to farmers, they're looking for a 3 to 5 year payoff in equipment.
It would be helpful in the future maybe to make that more concise and clearer as part of the presentation, like why the farmer will want to buy this thing, the economics. But great idea.
I love the idea too. How many farmers did you survey, Holly?
So I've surveyed 65 and we've got 5 beta testers signed up.
All in Iowa?
No, we actually focus on wheat farmers in the Northwest.
And can you tell me too, how does the camera work in detecting weeds?
Yeah.
I can
Go
probably
ahead,
take
Blake.
that. Yeah, so it's just a normal, it's actually a specialized computer vision camera that detects at a very high frame rate, and it works at faster than real time. So farmers can drive at their normal speed, and it basically just surveys the scene in front of the sprayer boom and inputs that information into our computer, which runs computer vision inference on that and makes decisions based on that inference.
Because there's a lot of APIs out there now, right? I've got on my phone right now, I can take a picture and know if something's a weed or a flower or what it is, right? Is there a simpler way to do that?
It's actually quite similar to those algorithms that are running there. What you're describing is a classification algorithm. Ours is doing both that and localization, which is one step more complicated. So it's able to both, identify what's in the picture and identify where it is, so we can get an accurate spray timing.
Thank you, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. I'm gonna have to agree. I know nothing about farming, so my question is very basic. Are there other herbicides that are not bad for the environment? Are there some that are less detrimental to the environment?
So there are, but they're very expensive. So there are some organic herbicides. I think the most commonly used one is called wood vinegar, but it costs something like $200 an acre. So if you're on 5,000 acres, you don't want to use it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Great job, Blake and Holly. Thank you very much for your presentation. We are moving on and ahead of schedule. Next up, WashU in St. Louis. Mike Sieper is the Associate Director of the Scandalaris Center for Interdisciplinary Innovation and Entrepreneurship at WashU. That is a tongue twister, Mike, I'm sure. And was recently published in Entrepreneur Magazine. Give him a shout out for that. So Mike, the stage is yours. It's possible you're muted.
Right.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect. Are you seeing that full screen? Great.
You're good.
So thank you so much. This is our first year participating in the University Pitch Madness. We are so excited to be participating and welcoming two great students to represent Washington University. We have some of our statistics here, but very simply, we want to create a pipeline for welcoming students into our ecosystem to be able to bring great ideas to life. So in order to do that, we have an ideabounce.com platform to be able to share ideas with our community. By posting on there, students, community members, mentors are able to connect and bring ideas to market. They're able to share their ideas, conduct customer discovery that was mentioned a bit earlier here, and the importance of getting to their customers. So we're trying to create an opportunity to share those ideas and also to be able to allow some opportunities for funding and mentorship. So a bit more about those programs are our Scandalaris Venture Competition and the Global Impact Award, that we are able to create some funding opportunities, but also most importantly, opportunities for mentorship and to be able to guide these ventures to be able to grow and to be able to sustain economic development in our area. So I'm so excited to be able to welcome Will and Armand with Integra Medical. They are the epitome of what we're trying to do. Not only two students that are so eager to bring this startup to market, but also to be able to help benefit society. So it's my pleasure to welcome Will and Armand. I'll let you guys take it away.
Thanks, Mike. Over the past 10 years, we have seen a rapid increase in connectivity across the world as the telecommunications industry continues to expand into regions previously underserved. But despite this, access to healthcare services still remains a major issue for nearly half of our world's population. A telling example of this can be found in Haiti, where it is easier for the average citizen to find a cell phone than it is a doctor. With nearly 5 million people passing away each year as a direct consequence of lacking healthcare, we have a social responsibility as entrepreneurs to come up with real solutions that deal with this crisis as swiftly as possible.
Analyzing the current market from the bottom up, we have found NGO-funded medical facilities as initial customers. We believe we could reach millions of patients versus the mere thousands that are currently cared for. Sites like Haiti, with its large amount of foreign aid and ample supply of cell coverage, would be perfect. This enables an initial success before later expanding to future markets.
At Integra, we believe that the increased global connectivity can be leveraged to help combat the global disparity in healthcare by connecting doctors to regions where they are in short supply as part of a readily deployable telehealth system. The system consists of a low-cost, cloud-connected EKG device that can be seen earlier on the slide that can wirelessly transmit a patient's electrocardiogram to a physician from almost anywhere in the world, and a remote server that allows the physician to easily access and interpret the electrocardiograms. Once he or she assigns the diagnoses, the records are forwarded to a medical NGO working on the ground in the area of interest, which will coordinate the delivery of treatments to the patients based on their diagnoses provided. The outsourcing of medical expertise needed for diagnosis will allow us to potentially save millions of lives.
Comparing our solution, seen on the top here, to the current solution, seen on the bottom here, ours is much simpler with fewer steps thanks to modern computing systems. Moreover, the cost of the device is less than $50 compared to thousands like that of traditional EKG machines. The modern advent of cloud technologies has the potential to solve the tragic problem of healthcare inequality. Operation of the device is extremely easy to use with simple click and run systems requiring fewer leads than competition. Finally, the data we collect during usage would prove to be a valuable asset to multiple stakeholders in the future. Leveraging this data, the future of public health would be drastically improved by better patient care. This data asset and analysis would be a core of the company's revenue in the future as multiple public health stakeholders seek to purchase access. However, right away, our company enables initial success by establishing test markets and case studies before expanding and growing. Additionally, with economies of scale in our favor, the more units we produce, the less the cost of each unit would be. Finally, the model would be a subscription service, possibly, where continued usage requires membership dues from partnered NGOs or non-governmental organizations. As seen here, we have all the tools in our toolbox to achieve our vision of a healthier, better world. Now, with your support, you'll bring us one step closer to improving access to healthcare across the globe with our continued validation of the product. The patients, innocent men, women, and children in lesser developed countries are counting on us and you right now to help them. Answer the call with your support in Integra Medical Solutions. Thank you.
Great job, William and Armin. I must admit, we're very, all of these ideas are impressive. Just everything's building on each other tonight. Just a quick shout out on the social media front. Obviously, we've seen some great companies so far. So we've got a poll posted on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to just do a people's vote, it won't necessarily count in, well, it won't count in the final tally tonight. The judges will be controlling that, but we'd love to just see what your favorites are. So again, hashtag Pitch Madness 2021 to find the poll. All right. Now with that reminder, there's the contact info, and I'm going to turn it over to the judges.
Thanks, Bruce. And I wanted to say, great job, guys. Quick question though, as a former nurse, why focus on cardiac issues as your, MVP and doing EKGs? I mean, most cardiac situations or incidents could be life-threatening. I mean, have you thought about starting here, and where are you moving next, or why did you choose cardiac first?
Absolutely. So this was a really strategic choice on our part because we know from previous research that out of any piece of medical equipment, an EKG is one of the few as we've seen recently with the consumerization of the Apple Watch. It's one of the only pieces of medical equipment that can be operated without the assistance of a medical professional, provided a small detail of instructions. Aside from that, it doesn't really need much training to be used. We're seeing everyday average users using this now with the advent of the Apple Watch and similar products, and the rise of consumer healthcare. The other thing is with the EKGs, specifically with electrocardiography, is that it is readily deployable, in our opinion, and it is also, Will, did you want to also, I know you want to say something about this.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So I think the technology at its core could be simplified a lot in terms of EKGs, where not every device is like that. And so starting with this could enable that initial success before expanding. And we can have multiple cloud connected medical devices to improve the world.
Right.
Just to maybe thinking about just vitals, right? There are so many tools out in the market already for blood pressure, respirations, and pulse rate for monitoring, not as complex as an EKG.
Right. I guess sort of with the essence of this, we wanted to make sure we got the most essential information about a patient's cardiac health, really with the most pressing issues being heart rhythm disorders. We realized that that is a major contributor to a lot of the excessive amount of unnecessary deaths occurring in these developing countries where these problems go unnoticed. So we figured that we might be able to capture some of those events before they happen.
So I have two questions, one following up on Colleen's question about the EKG. Like if your goal is to prevent deaths, it would seem, because an EKG doesn't actually prevent deaths, it's a diagnostic tool. It would seem that an AED, automatic electronic defibrillator, would be more valuable in actually preventing those deaths. So when someone has a cardiac incident, if you were able to distribute AEDs inexpensively, you could actually save lives at that instant. I'd love to hear your comment on that. And then my follow-up second question is, who is your customer?
Yeah, so
it's not clear to me.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with the first point in terms of AEDs. So those would require immediate disposal in terms of an AED's right there and someone's having a heart attack, whereas this could potentially prevent that. And with a lot of issues, quite simple, that could be solved with medication, prescribed medication versus surgery. We're thinking that the EKG, if it shows some sort of issue, a doctor could prescribe some sort of medication that would fix that at a low level and before trying something else. With the second question, in terms of the customer, that would be non-governmental organizations, because we plan to do the B2B or B2G route, so business to business, the government, rather than the individuals in these countries themselves, for the economic reasons, of course.
And do the NGOs have a budget line for this? Like, what are you taking budget away from in order to implement this? Because they have a finite pie of money, right? They're always stretched for money, and if they're going to give you some money, they got to take money away from something else. So what bucket is this coming out of?
Yeah, I guess they would want to purchase something like this. We talked to them, and they definitely expressed interest, several organizations. And I think right now the cost to buy one of these is just too prohibitive for them, so they never even explored it. But now it's something like this that could be something that can be changed.
Right, and the idea is with instituting a preventative treatment program such as this, we might be able to, sort of alleviate the burden that they already face providing emergency services by preventing, cardiac arrest and other similar events from happening in the first place. So.
Okay, great job. Time is up on that one. And Armin and William, really good work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, flying through here. Next, we have our host from the last Pitch Madness event, IIT or Illinois Tech. Bo Rhoda, professor at Ed Kaplan Family Institute for Innovation and Tech Entrepreneurship at IIT, is going to lead us off. Bo?
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks, Bruce.
There's Illinois Tech.
Yeah, here we are. Well, it's a little bit of rebranding. That's new.
Right.
So it's the Kaplan Institute. We're only a few years old, and we're really excited to be here and have be representing such a great group of other institutions. We're extremely proud of being invited. A few things about the Kaplan Institute. I did say it was a few years old. Kaplan Institute was developed principally to become the center of innovation for Illinois Tech. It's also the launch pad where many of the university's big ideas can come and grow and hopefully launch beyond the walls of our campus. We also have a program at the Kaplan Institute called the IPRO program, or Interprofessional Projects program, where I'm proud to be a professor. And it's each semester, the IPRO program hosts about 75 to 100 student-led teams where we work with community partners, industry partners, as well as faculty projects to really see where that interdisciplinary innovation can happen and grow. It's in that program last September where I had the great opportunity to meet the team members that now have become this company, Phyesta. Working in the heart of COVID, they identified some critical opportunities and challenges in our educational system and developed a product to rethink how we can actually deliver educational content. Through that, we encourage that team to participate in our inaugural accelerator program. And fortunately, they asked me to be their mentor along with Chris Lang Bargera, who's the Chief of Learning Innovation at Leap Innovations. And we worked with them throughout the remainder of the spring semester. I believe they turned into an incredibly innovative company. They've got a great product. We're excited to see where they go next. And without further ado, I would like to present Phyesta.
All right, thank you, Bo. Yeah, Patrick looks like he's got the slides up. So, all right, so I'm Sam Kalenowski, and I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Phyesta. Anyone who's taken a science class before knows that science is taught a bit differently than other subjects. Although the standard lectures and textbooks still play a role, students truly learn in performing hands-on lab experiments. In sciences like physics, however, traditional labs are often not feasible due to a lack of class time, high cost of lab materials, or sheer physical limitations. In these cases, physics teachers turn to simulation. Unfortunately, existing virtual lab simulators leave much to be desired, a fact that was made abundantly clear when the pandemic forced teachers to rely on them more than ever. On top of being outdated, they're frustratingly limited in their interactivity and scope. As shown here, users are locked into a surface level view of one narrow concept at a time with no ability to look beyond. Now imagine if a flight simulator permanently locked pilots into seeing just one tiny instrument panel at a time. If you want them to truly learn, shouldn't we allow them to eventually explore the whole cockpit? At Phyesta Simulations, that's exactly what we're doing. Our mission is to enhance student learning and empower teachers by providing easily accessible, inquiry-focused resources to schools. It was this vision that inspired us to build Phyesta, an educator-driven platform where teachers can design and perform customized lab experiments with their students. Unlike other simulators, which only feature rigid, pre-made experiments, Phyesta is uniquely modular and dynamic. On the platform, labs are set up and run by dragging simple elements such as carts, tracks, springs, ramps, and more into place within an immersive 3D environment. Since all parts are programmed to fully interact with each other, they can be combined like basic building blocks to create a limitless variety of physics lab experiences. In comparing Phyesta to some of our competitors, it's hard to even classify what we're building as a mere simulator. Instead, the innovative platform that Phyesta provides has the potential to redefine digital science instruction. Although in-person instruction is resuming, the infrastructure improvements in schools brought on by the pandemic marked a turning point in how we think about modernizing education. We've gone from asking, how do we get laptops into schools, to now, what are we putting on those laptops? Solutions like ours are the natural next step in the evolution of our education system. And teachers are ready. We've collaborated with several of them from a range of schools, and what we found is that they're dissatisfied with present virtual solutions. They're longing for the features found in Phyesta, such as experimental design. With the obvious hunger of teachers for innovation combined with the unprecedented opportunity in the landscape, now is clearly the time for Phyesta. By providing a free version of Phyesta with limited functionality, as well as a premium version at an average annual cost of $2,500, Phyesta is bound for financial success. As shown here, with very few operating expenses associated with a software company like ours, Phyesta only needs to sell 12 licenses before starting to turn profits. Our plan for the future can be split into 3 stages. By the end of 2021, we expect to finish software development of our beta version. Upon completion, several teachers from our network have already agreed to beta test the platform next spring, so that we're ready to ship version 1.0 at the start of the 2022 school year. Having met high school students ourselves just a few years ago, we know Phyesta is not just wanted, but needed. And with your support, we can't wait to help students everywhere get the education that they deserve. Thank you.
Great job, Sam. Very, very well done. Okay, if you've got all of the contact info there, anybody that needs it?
All right, I'll jump in. Super appreciate this. As a physics major, physics is my jam, so I'm glad finally, a million years later, something is being addressed there. So we talked about the education model. Is it only for high school students currently, or is there? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, right now we're focusing on high school more than other grade levels, just because that's where physics is taught the most. So that's our biggest group of students to pull from. But there's no reason why we couldn't spread out to other grade levels, or we even plan in the future to move to other branches of science, because we believe they could all benefit from this immersive experiential philosophy that we've built into our simulator.
And you mentioned it was 2,500 per license. How many licenses do you need per school?
It would be one license per school. So that 2,500 is an average, and that price that schools pay is based on the number of instructors and also students that would be using the software.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have a staggered pricing model for more students?
Yes, we do.
So how many right now, your initial license covers how many students?
It's about 200 to 250. Right now, we are pre-sales. We're still working on our beta version of our software. And so we plan to really hash that out as we start to talk to schools individually and really meet them at a price point that they can afford.
That's a lot of students. And I'll just advise, I have a platform that's proprietary at our institute, and, we model like 0 to 50, 50 to 100. I mean, I would really break down what your costs are and see if your pricing model's right.
So I love what you're doing, and like Lisa, I wasn't a physics major, but I was a mechanical engineer, and I would have killed to have tools like this to explain conservation of momentum, et cetera, like I saw in the presentation. But I always come back to the core question, which is, how do you acquire these customers? So if I had known that this existed, I would have loved it, or as an educator, I would love it. But how are you going to get those customers? How are people going to know you exist? What are your channels of distribution and sales?
Yeah, so first off, in terms of the customers that we've already acquired and testing our beta version, it's all been through the connections that we previously had. So either our own high schools that we went to, or through our mentor. He's helped a lot of different companies. So through there, he knows a lot of different teachers that he's been able to connect us with. But then beyond there, we found that the most effective way to get our company to spread is through the word of mouth between teachers. And so we'll actually have an online platform for teachers to collaborate in how they develop these programs and labs that they're using, and share their ideas with each other, and really create that collaborative culture amongst all teachers, and have them talk to each other from different schools and really bring them into the Phyesta community.
I love the idea of creating community around teaching and sharing teaching ideas. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And I was about to add to your last question. Now, looking into the future, we realized that, the three of us, we just don't have, the foothold in the education market to reach the amount of students and teachers that we'd like to, which is why once we have a product developed years down the
and selling it, by word of mouth and, teacher connections. Years down the road, we're looking at working with ed tech aggregators or textbook companies. We could see, a lot of potential for something like this being integrated with ebooks into the future. So, like you're, a student in 2025 reading an ebook lesson, and then side by side, you have one of our simulations where you can actually explore for yourself, how this concept actually works.
Yeah, be careful because the ebook companies are likely your biggest competitor also, right? And this is true in many businesses. Your most likely partner is your most likely competitor. So you're going to have to thread that needle very carefully. You have to have something that they can't create or something that they value. Maybe it's time to market because you've already created it. But they could be a great partner, but they could also be a fierce competitor.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why we've spent so much of our time so far developing programs that once we start to catch on, we can really, meet with that demand and have a fully polished software that schools are going to be able to use right away.
Yeah, to Troy's point, the ed tech market is so competitive.
Real good, guys. Maybe there'll be actual an acquirer of yours as well. Get out there and make it happen quickly.
Yeah, reach out to me, actually. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We have 3 schools left. The next up is the University of Illinois. I would like to ask Stephanie Larson, Associate Director, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Student Programs with the Technology Entrepreneurship Center at U of I Urbana-Champaign, to take over this part of the evening. Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Well, I'm excited to be here tonight and excited that this is our 3rd University Pitch Madness program to be a part of. So thank you so much. I'm Stephanie Larson with the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign with the Technology Entrepreneur Center. And I'm here actually representing the University of Illinois system of 3 campuses, the Chicago, Springfield, and Urbana-Champaign campus. So what we do at the Technology Entrepreneur Center is we help students and faculty develop an entrepreneurial mindset, and we provide them with the skills, resources, and experiences to become successful innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders. So tonight, it is my extreme pleasure to introduce the next presentation from one of our students, Alex Kosyakov, with Team Natrion. Alex is going into his senior year in materials science and engineering, and he won our COSAD New Venture Challenge last year. He also was accepted and participated in our iVenture Accelerator program. Alex, good luck tonight, and you can take it from here.
All right, sorry about that delay. Thanks so much, Stephanie, and hello, everybody. I'm Alex Kosyakov. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Natrion. What we're doing is developing next-generation components for lithium-ion battery manufacturers to enable safe and high-performance mass-market electric vehicles. So the rechargeable batteries used in electric cars are what are called lithium-ion batteries, which rely on a core component that is a liquid that is highly volatile and can boil and explode. And for these reasons, electric car batteries have to be overbuilt with external cooling and safety systems that are not only highly expensive, but also really inefficient. And so today, current battery tech is really the most obstructive bottleneck in the path of mainstream electric cars. So a really promising technology in the space now is what are called solid-state batteries, and these use solid materials such as ceramics to replace liquids and virtually eliminate any fire risk. However, all these companies that are attempting to supply some of the world's major automakers, such as Alika, QuantumScape, and Solid Energy, all these solid-state battery manufacturers keep pushing back their commercial launch timeframes. And it all has to do with the fact that none of them have figured out a way to make use of the hundreds of gigawatt hours of manufacturing infrastructure that we've already built. So they have to invest immeasurable time and capital into creating brand new supply chains and factories for their batteries. So that's why we developed what's called LISIC. This is our brand new solid electrolyte that is able to do what all other solid electrolytes can do, while also being able to, being a highly rapid implementation component. It can integrate onto virtually any lithium-ion battery assembly line and use most lithium battery chemistries. This is a proprietary technology. We've already got 1 patent issued and have another 3 patents pending. So LISIC is well suited to meet all of the safety and performance needs of the electric car industry. We can greatly expand the operating temperature range of batteries to, again, eliminate fire risk and cut down on all of those external systems. And also by enabling batteries to use higher voltages in their operation, we can also make batteries that are virtually 2 times as energy dense or even more. So you can drive twice as far on the same charge with the same size battery. Our preliminary pricing model implies that we'd be able to average about $30 million per year per gigawatt hour of manufacturing capacity that we service. And by 2025, this is a potential $7.5 billion market that we could pursue. The industry response to this technology has been tremendous. This summer, we began 1 commercial pilot already with New York Gigafactory operator Imperium 3. We also began a manufacturing feasibility study with AMT Power in the UK. We've been chatting with Tesla since December about potentially implementing a Gigafactory 3 in China, and we've also engaged with French automaker Renault. Our commercial validation isn't the only thing we're doing. On the defense side, we're also working our way through a phase 2 SBIR from the Army Special Operations Command to integrate LISIC-enabled batteries into a new communications drone that they're developing. As far as our team, it's led by yours truly, my co-founder, Tom. I'm more of the technical co-founder. Tom deals with the business development side. And more recently, we added Duke as our CTO, and he's got 8 years of materials R&D experience from IBM, Itron, and also his PhD at Imperial College London. We're currently raising a $1.25 million seed to supplement our non-dilutive grant funding, and we're doing that to get us through the scale-up and validation and commercial pouch cells, and ultimately get us to our first purchasing orders. So thanks so much for listening, and here are a couple of ways to contact us.
Great job, Alex. Very impressive what you've already accomplished, and very impressive team as well. Good to bring the Brits in once in a while, help the cause.
Yep.
Okay. Troy, did you make a noise?
Sure. Nicely done, Alex. I have 2 questions. The first is, when you talked about energy density, you talked about it per volume, not per weight. I'm used to hearing energy density quoted on a per weight basis. How do you compare on a per kilogram basis to the existing lithium-ion batteries?
Sure. So it's an equivalent effect. So right now, again, using kind of the most high performance chemistry that we can enable, that'd be using a lithium metal anode and a nickel manganese cobalt cathode, we could get the energy density up in past 400 watt hours per kilograms. That's a pretty substantial improvement for lithium batteries there as well.
Is it the same 2x that you had on the volume, or are your batteries more dense?
No, correct. So the volume and the weight improvements are basically proportional.
Okay. And then the second question I have is, I don't know a lot about energy technology and battery technology, but I do know that companies like Tesla have been spending hundreds of millions of dollars in researching this stuff. And the part that I'm trying to put together is, how did you guys figure something out that the billions of dollars across the industry has been researching haven't figured out yet? Like, help me put those 2 things together. How'd you beat all the Goliaths out there?
Sure. So the 3 companies that I mentioned, and there are of course numerous others in the space, but really, probably heard of QuantumScape, Solid Power. They had some pretty prominent public listings recently. So the problem was that it's kind of how you approach the R&D process. What these companies went out and did is they said, okay, let us develop the most high performance material, and if we have to build a brand new battery around it, so be it, right? They just want to get to solid state as quickly as possible. That's a valid research approach, except for, as I said, they now are having all these issues with developing supply chain and new assembly processes. Versus us, the way we approached it was, we said, okay, we're gonna we're going to have to make something that's flexible, that can be used in what are called these roll-to-roll processes that all these factories are built to use. And then we're going to limit ourselves to these materials that, you know, already have economies of scale and supply chains established. And then see if we can make a material out of that and then make it, you know, get the performance up to where it needs to be with that. So by going in reverse in that way, we were able to essentially come up with a product that's much better suited for an OEM like Tesla. So the other thing is that sure, Tesla will do some of its own internal R&D. Some of these larger companies are really just looking to make acquisitions of, you know, IP and IP companies such as what we're doing. So we really compete with, you know, the QuantumScapes and the Solid Powers versus the big guys.
Yeah, to piggyback on Troy, all of us Davids are pulling for you against the Goliath, that's for sure. So the entrepreneurial way. Collene?
I think Troy asked the question we were all thinking, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Here. I'm really impressed. I love this. I'm a Volvo, you know, owner, and they're moving fully electric too quickly. I think my question too was any other industries you're looking at for this?
Absolutely. So, you know, of course, I mentioned defense. There are obviously wide-ranging applications there. Another thing we're looking at is like, you know, submarine batteries, which is, you know, obviously this can have a huge impact. Outside of all of that, of course, with renewable energy integration, basically we're going to need really big batteries to supply backup power for our grids. And that's another case where a large-scale application, battery safety is a huge thing, especially with a bunch of new fire certifications, fire safety regulations hitting the market. And so actually those first two pilots that we're doing with C4B or Imperium-3 and C4B and AMT, they're actually targeting grid scale initially as well before pivoting towards electric vehicles. So we're getting along in that market nicely as well.
So question about the current charging technology. We talked about the investments for the other car companies and all these charging stations and things like that. Will your technology change the way people will have to charge their cars?
No, so we really are, we want to be a component supplier for these OEM. We make a component that's just, you know, inside the battery cell that, you know, this has really no impact on how they package the batteries and how they end up putting it into the car and what kind of, you know, charging, what ways they charge it. In fact, if anything, you know, and this is something we're exploring right now, is whether we can actually improve charge times by enabling batteries to take more electricity than they normally would. But, you know, if anything, then, you know, there's nothing requiring, you know, a different kind of charge port interface or something like that, if that's your question.
Yeah, anything less than 8 hours would be great.
Absolutely.
All right, Alex, excellent. Thank you, judges. Great questions, and we're rooting for you for sure.
Thanks so much.
We're rooting for all the teams, but you definitely are taking on some big competition. Next up is the school from Evanston, Northwestern University. Elizabeth Wright, marketing manager at the Garage at Northwestern. It's all yours.
Better unmute myself to get started. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Wright, and I'm so excited to be here tonight to, of course, represent the Garage at Northwestern University, but more importantly, in a few minutes, to introduce the students that you'll be hearing from Northwestern. So a little bit about the Garage. We are a space and community for all Northwestern students, regardless of level of study or major, to participate in entrepreneurship and learn about it and explore it at their own pace. As we've grown since we opened in 2015, we've really discovered that the three tenets to underpin all of our programs depend on mentorship. So we're so proud of our network of industry superstars that offer real world advice to our students on a regular basis. We have some really sought after resources at the university as well that students love. I think the most valuable thing that we offer students is a community of like-minded peers who stay connected both online and in real life. So a couple of our resources, we have an 11,000 square foot space accessible by students 24 hours a day. We, of course, have the makerspace with all the future-facing tech toys and technology, 3D printers, CNC mills, laser cutters, even a table saw. We have an augmented and virtual reality lab and media lab where students can record podcasts or videos for their Kickstarter campaigns. We're really proud of our mentorship program, and we also offer regular office hours with the people that students need to talk to make sure that they are successful, like lawyers and accountants. And the resource that students would probably tell you is the most valuable is free snacks and coffee. Here's some numbers to share. Since opening, we've incubated over 600 student-founded startups, and of the students who have participated in our programs, 95% of them have shared that the garage enhanced their overall experience while at Northwestern. So we're really proud of that. And again, that network of global mentors providing real-life guidance to our students. We have over 250 people there. At our core, our goal is to build billion-dollar people, not just billion-dollar companies, although billion-dollar companies would be good too. So whether students want to become founders and land their dream jobs or continue their projects as a side hustle, we've seen so many different paths to success after graduation. We really think that the entrepreneurial skill set and mindset that they build while they're with us at the Garage at Northwestern will truly propel them to success in any path. So I invite all of you to join us, of course, on social media at the Garage NU. You can, of course, learn more about our programs at thegarage.northwestern.edu. And a shameless plug, we are running our summer pre-accelerator program right now called Jumpstart, and our end of program demo day will be held on August 25th from 4 to 4:45 p.m. Central Time. And we'd love for everyone here to join us. You can RSVP at thegarage.nu/demo day. And now I'm really excited to introduce two students that I know well, Anna Cornell, a rising senior at the McCormick School of Engineering, and Kate Connor, a rising senior at the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences, to pitch Acorn Genetics, which builds at-home DNA testing kits, giving clients access to their genetic information in a private, affordable, and timely manner. So thank you very much, and good luck to Anna and Kate.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our pitch about Acorn Genetics. So when I was 16, my father was diagnosed with a genetically linked autoimmune disorder. I was very concerned about whether or not I'd get it, and I explored my options for genetic testing. I could either A, spend thousands of dollars going through the medical care system because my insurance wouldn't cover my test, or I could go through a commercial genetic testing company, except they would sell my DNA. I was unwilling to compromise on either of these two values. So I decided not to do any form of genetic testing, and I'm far from being alone. 1/4 of our population is made up of high genetic risk adults. 3 out of every 5 Americans lack adequate insurance for medical genetic testing, and 85% of those high-risk adults who refuse genetic testing say privacy is their #1 concern and reason why. When you do the math, that adds up to 45.7 million Americans who do not have a good option for a genetic test and want one. And that's the reason why I started Acorn Genetics, a company that focused on privacy and accessibility in genetic testing. If we captured just 1% of that total 45.7 million Americans, that would give us a beachhead of $55 million.
We plan to capture that 1% in the next 5 years using Acorn Lab, the first at-home DNA sequencer. This machine is completely user-friendly. All you do is put in a sample of your saliva along with the enzymes for the gene you want to test, and then within 2 hours, you'll have your results. We're able to accomplish this through the complete automation of DNA prep, PCR, and genetic sequencing through our novel, patent-pending graphene-based genetic sequencer. And the best part is the machine is reusable. And that works with our business model because we don't make a profit from selling Acorn Lab, but rather from selling Acorn Lab specific enzymes. So every time a customer wants to run a test, they will have to buy enzymes from us, much like buying coffee beans for a coffee machine. And this isn't just an idea. We've been working since 2019, completing iterative designs for the improvement and optimization for our market-ready prototype.
When we go to market, we're going to be the #1 company focused on privacy in the genetic testing space with faster results than anything else, coming in 2 hours compared to the standard 4 to 8 weeks. Our patent pending technology gives our users complete autonomy over the entire process of genetic testing. Right now, we're currently raising $250,000 for our pre-seed, of which we've already raised $65,000. This will give us a runtime of 18 months that allows us to finish prototyping, complete our alpha and beta testing, and clear any regulatory hurdles. We're also pursuing Series A and Series B funding in order to finish our go-to-market strategy. So like I said, we're going to finish our prototyping and our manufacturing in the next 2 years. We've done 57 customer discovery interviews through the NSF I-Core program and are doing more now. And I've isolated 2 key demographics that we'll be pursuing: middle-aged high-risk adults concerned about privacy, and young parents wanting to test themselves for carrier diseases before having children. We'll plan to expand to B2B models. We get FDA clearance and move into clinics. And then in the future, we want to move into epigenetic screenings as well as viral and bacterial testing. Any questions?
Wow, that was a journey. I think you two have had a little experience pitching this, and phenomenal work considering you've been at this for 2 years. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see what the judges come up with. I bet, Collene, that nursing background's coming in handy with all these health companies. I think we've got one more to go with Chicago, but
I have a lot of questions, but I love this. And I was a beta tester with 23andMe way back in the day. And
really?
Because I had a lot of breast cancer in my family, so really wanted to see if I was BRCA1 or 2 for my daughters, right? But one of the reasons I love 23andMe was I wasn't so worried about the privacy, but the collective study for the collective good. But I do understand, that so many people are, especially we don't know what's happening with our information right now. So pricing, yeah, how do you plan on making money?
So I think I showed you our profits and where we're going to make it.
You did, and I love the coffee analogy.
Yes. Yeah. When I did my customer discovery interviews, most people, like, they didn't want to just like test themselves. They had like 4 or 5 other family members, because our demographic that we're focusing on is typically like family run genetic diseases. Like for example, with BRCA1, like with that gene, when you have a positive, you don't want to just, oh, I know, that's great. You want to test your sister, your niece, your mother, you want to test everyone else. So that's what we're really focusing on. Not just like selling to one person one time, but having that reusability with our kit.
So they get the information and that's it, right? It's not stored anywhere.
It's not stored anywhere, but we do. So we've been working with a number of genetic counselors about the best way to go about this, because we do want to be ethical with our approach. And like we are like consumer first as a company and as a group. Pretty much with everything that's, you're a nurse, so I'm sure you're familiar with like the ACMG 59, right? With all of those genes, we plan to offer 30 minutes of free genetic counseling with those tests. If you are looking into carrier diseases, you can opt out. I know privacy is a big concern to a lot of people.
I just have a question. It just seems like a strange go-to-market that you're selling a device to someone and they're going to test their DNA, but you can't, it's not like, so for instance, I'm wearing a CGM right now, a continuous glucose monitor, and I have to replenish that device because I'm constantly testing my glucose because it changes based on what I eat, how I exercise, how I feel, what my mood, cortisol, all that stuff, right? Once I test my DNA, I could test it again, but I'm going to get the same result, right? So there isn't a lot of repeat use for the device other than, as you described, might want to test relatives. And it just seems like a strange go-to-market as opposed to, for instance, selling it to a GP who can then make money off of the tests on a recurring basis. And by the way, if I went into my GP and I paid $100 or with markup, maybe it's $150, $200 for that test, whatever it is, and then I found out that I had a gene and I wanted all my relatives to get tested, I could send them to the same GP to get tested for that, same way. I'm just curious about why you're so focused on selling me, the consumer, an actual piece of hardware.
So I think I did mention that we were looking at a B2B model as well, but I think I phrased it during the pitch as an expansion to that. Correct. With that, like when you are selling to clinics and to hospitals, you do have to get FDA clearance. We've kind of noticed that's not been the case with selling direct to consumer. So that's one of the reasons why, like, we want to jump and get a profit early on And we have identified that there is a market of people who do want to own this device. The other thing that we are considering and have been looking to more and more is the option of renting the kit and returning it. If you want to have the privacy of this genetic test, you want to have it in your home. And again, like I said, we're not going to be making a profit off of these kits. It's off of every test we sell using those kits. So a renting model is also something else we've been looking into. I have seen a demand for purchasing and owning, weirdly enough, in my customer discovery interviews.
I also just maybe want to add on, just in case there's any confusion. So each of the enzymes is you're testing for like one gene. So also you can sell multiple enzymes for multiple genes. And also as as there's updates or things like that, people might want to buy more genes later on.
Just like the iTunes of genetics.
Yes.
And how big is the apparatus?
So do you want like the dimensions, or do you want me to like image it out?
Is it a shoebox? Is it a fax machine? You know what a fax machine is? Is it a printer?
It's roughly a
Fax
shoebox,
machine.
I'd say. Yeah. It's a shoebox. That's pretty good actually with the rough shape. We are working on making it a little smaller, but yeah.
And one more time, you're only testing for one genetic malfunction at a time. I don't know how to say it. Like you're only testing for one gene at a time?
Or one disease.
One disease.
So we're only testing for one disease at a time. We can and probably will be testing for multiple genes at once. But we've noticed like more and more people have like just that one thing that they're worried about. And they pursue genetic testing for that. Like for me, it was what my dad had. For a lot of the women I talked to, it was BRCA1. For another person I talked to, it was ApoE3 gene because their dad had Alzheimer's.
I think piggybacking off of Choi, if I buy that device and I test for my one gene and I find out I don't have it, then I have this shoebox in my house,
That's honestly really good feedback, and it's a good push more towards the renting model, which has been recommended more and more. Thank you.
I was just going to say that. And another thing too, I'm so glad you're doing counseling along with this. Personal experience, I was tested for trisomy 21 on my third child. It was positive, but it really was negative because I just have a weird second strand. So, if I didn't have someone to counsel me through that, I would have thought, my child would have been born with Down. So glad you're doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it wouldn't be right. Just like if someone doesn't know genetics and someone isn't experienced, like just be like, oh, like here's this random thing that you're positive or negative for, whatever that might mean. But yeah, we've been working closely with genetic counselors, and we have a genetic counselor on our board.
Great, Anna and Kate. Absolutely, very impressive. Thanks so much. You have a slight amount of energy around this too, which is a key to be successful, right? That passion just really shows. So, all right, our last team of the night is the University of Chicago. Lucas Peralta, Associate Director of the Polsky Center at the University of Chicago, is going to introduce our final team for this evening. So, Lucas, take it away.
Hi, everyone. As Bruce mentioned, my name is Lucas Peralta, and I'm an Associate Director for the Polsky Center at the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the University of Chicago. We are kind of the central resource at the University of Chicago for transforming groundbreaking ideas and discoveries into new products, services, and ventures. We launched 20 years ago with the University of Chicago Booth School of Business, but thanks to a gift from University trustee Michael Polsky, in 2016, our mission actually expanded, and we're now a 60-plus person professional staff serving the entire University of Chicago. And in doing so, we offer experiential learning, programming, and educational training for students, faculty, staff, and alumni. We provide venture support and incubator space for startups affiliated with both the university and Chicago's South Side. We facilitate technology commercialization and the licensing of IP assets for the University of Chicago. And we're the gateway for corporations and industry to access University of Chicago science, technology, and research discoveries. As I mentioned, we have been anchored at Chicago Booth for over 20 years, and our historic affiliation with that business school has enabled us to support students utilizing industry-leading educational opportunities. And our students have gone on to and found incredible companies, including Grubhub, Braintree, Simple Mills, and the company I'm really excited to introduce you to next. The New Venture Challenge suite of programs supports students by providing educational resources, access to capital, and unrivaled mentorship. And Polsky-supported student ventures have raised over 1.2 billion in capital and have generated 8.5 billion in value for equity holders. So it is my honor to introduce you to Bridges Health. Tonight, you're going to hear from Ryan Choi and Nathan Sattah. Ryan is a rising fourth year studying biological sciences and specializing in quantitative sciences. And Nathan is also a rising fourth year studying biological sciences. And both of them are undergraduate researchers at UChicago Medicine. Bridges Health has been working with the Polsky Center for nearly a year and was a finalist in the College New Venture Challenge this past spring. With that, I'll pass it to Ryan.
Thank you very much. Can you guys hear me? All right, cool.
Yep, you're all good.
Sounds good. Hello, my name is Ryan Choi, and we're Bridges Health, a platform for preventative cardiology where we make heart disease monitoring easy for doctors and patients. When I shadowed cardiologists at UChicago Medicine, they seem to face a common problem: patient relapse for the same condition, cardiovascular disease, a disease characterized by high cholesterol and high blood pressure. Today, with more than 18 million deaths per year, heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide. Heart disease isn't only deadly, but costly. In fact, American hospitals spend more than $200 billion annually on treatment. It's one of the most expensive conditions in hospitals today. But why is this such a big problem? Today, patients leave the clinic with recommended lifestyle changes, but there's no way for physicians to keep their patients accountable. In fact, there are minimal platforms to monitor biometrics and prevent disease outside of the clinic. This results in frequent patient readmissions and subsequently increased costs for hospitals. Right now, there are over 70,000 mHealth apps that track valuable lifestyle information, but this data is decentralized and often inaccessible. You can see from this slide alone just how complicated the current landscape is. Enter Bridges Health, a platform that seamlessly synthesizes these different metrics into a coherent platform for your physician. So whatever mHealth app you use, that data can be packaged consistently, so your physician has one go-to solution for remote patient monitoring. On the physician side, we have a seamless web app that compiles patient biometrics on one central platform, making accessing and analyzing data easy. Bridges Health simplifies the data and makes the user experience for physicians a priority. So is there even a market for this? Well, one of the most exciting aspects is our growing market size. We're first targeting the RPM market for heart disease, projected to be $100 million. And as we integrate more mHealth related services, we believe that Bridges Health has a TAM of over $175 billion. In the past year alone, there has been tremendous growth in this industry. Luckily, this is just the start of digitization, so don't miss out. Bridges Health started June of last year. We're engaged with over 50 physicians, in which 85% were interested in using our product. We have completed our mobile app, and our developers are expected to finish the web app by mid-October. Currently, we have 3 physicians here at UChicago Medicine that are willing to pilot our app. We start in Chicago, where Dr. Langott, one of our advisors, is conducting a QI research study to validate our app. By February, we look to launch in the greater Chicago market, where we plan to grow and expand into ACO-concentrated regions. The pandemic has shown some of the weaknesses in American healthcare and has finally accelerated the digitization of medicine. We believe that in the coming years, digital health can improve the quality of care, prevent disease, and make medicine more accessible. Bridges is the first step to a central platform that can save millions of lives. Thank you very much, and my team member, Nathan Sattah, and I are happy to answer any of your questions.
Great job, Ryan. Very, very impressive. Great, you've got the medical school down there all lined up. Now you just have to go talk to those people at Northwestern and get some collaboration on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep picking on our nurse, so maybe Troy or Lisa want to go first.
Lisa,
Sorry, we also
Lisa,
have
you want
an
to,
appendix to complement our presentation. So if I could share my screen again, would that be possible? Yeah, we're open to any questions.
All right,
I guess I was.
oh, there you go, Lisa. It's
Yeah.
all you.
I was a little confused. So where are the different bits of data coming from that we're going to aggregate into this app?
Yeah, I think Nathan could take that question.
Yeah, I could take that question. Ryan, could you go to slide 34, please? Yeah, so like Ryan mentioned, there are hundreds of thousands of mHealth apps out there. You probably use some of them yourself. Maybe you have a Fitbit, an Apple Watch. The Apple Health app actually tracks a lot of metrics on its own with just your iPhone alone. And we expect that market to continue growing. And so, like Ryan mentioned, there's a lot of apps out there, but it's very decentralized. There's no way for your physician to actually view this data, let alone in a coherent fashion.
So my grandfather's 86. He doesn't have any of these things. So, what is the test case for a guy like him?
Ryan, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great question. And ultimately, we see, one of the greatest values in our application in, the more elderly population, because this is where patient readmissions occur the most frequently. What we saw was that there's a significant percentage of the population that uses mobile application or just has a phone. And basically, a lot of this data that your phone collects, just with Apple Health in terms of the steps collected, are valuable information that physicians want to see to help target specific diseases they're susceptible to.
So I agree with Lisa that the most vulnerable population probably is the least technology adaptive. It's going to be an interesting problem. But if it's valuable enough, it might be worth giving them technology. For instance, weight is something that's an indicator of change in health, and so you can give them a digitally connected scale. They don't have to do anything, they just step on. But that brings me to the question, what is the job to be done? So it's unclear to me who's actually paying for this. And then why are they paying for it? So is it the hospital because they're trying to reduce readmission rates? Is it the physician because they're trying to save time? Is it who is the actual one who's paying for it? And what is the job to be done? What's the real core reason that they're paying for it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll take that question. So ultimately, these are our main stakeholders. So recently with the pandemic, there has been a great transition to value-based care, which highlights or emphasizes preventative care. So to give some statistics, in terms of the ACO savings that these large institutions like UChicago Medicine and Northwestern can conduct, is ultimately we project that they could save around more than $8 million by integrating preventative care applications such as these. So ultimately, what we're providing is creating some sort of value pool where we minimize costs and take a proportion of that as our revenue. And then to address your second question in terms of why would physicians or why would they even be interested in using it? Physicians, they're actually reimbursed to up to $1,200 per patient for integrating technologies like these, like digital health platforms. But at the moment, most of these technologies are inaccessible because there are large barriers to entry for these mHealth and digital health companies.
I think you can take what you just said, which is great, and refine it, tighten it up, and make it as part of your pitch, because it's really the piece that was missing for me was in your pitch was the compelling story for who is going to pay for this and why are they going to pay for it. And I think you have all the information, just have to tighten it up and deliver it concisely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, totally agree. I had the same question. It's like, are you selling into, large hospital organizations, directly to physicians? So yeah, tighten that up, I think, because this is great.
Okay, thank you, Ryan and Nathan. Great job. Okay, well, we're coming to the close of our program. So the judges are going to finish scoring the last couple of pitches. And I'm going to share my screen for a second, and we're going to just play a quick video clip of our winner from last year, University of Iowa.
Well, good morning, Erica. How are you?
Good morning, doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being with us today. As the 2019 winner of the University Pitch Madness competition over in Chicago, we really wanted to get together with you and have you kind of share your story when you graduated from Iowa and about your business idea.
Absolutely. So my name is Erica Cole. I lost my leg in a car accident in 2018, and I found it really difficult to dress after that. So after being in the Hawkeye Summer Accelerator, we decided to start No Limits, which is an adaptive clothing line. And so we really emphasize comfort, confidence, and independence. And we started with the very first thing was pants for amputees, because that was my experience. That was what I needed. And then as we grew and continued to do this customer discovery process, we found that this need was much greater than I initially expected. I was like, amputees, that's our focus and where the need is greatest, but that wasn't necessarily true. There was just this huge gap across the
The University of Iowa and the John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center while you were here.
I would not be here without the John Papajohn Entrepreneurial Center. I'm not from an entrepreneurial family. I was on this very strong path to be a chemist. That idea of, hey, you can start a business and you can build something from scratch wasn't even on my radar until interacting at that first pitch competition at Idea Storm. And then that kind of seed that was planted, JPEG just continued to grow that. And I feel like every couple of months, like my dream just gets a little bit bigger, and I think a little bit bigger.
So take us back 2 years ago when you participated over in Chicago. Tell us what that competition was like.
It was really cool because it was the first kind of fair type competition.
Like a trade show.
Yeah. And we had a booth, and so we got all of these materials together, and it was awesome because I got to kind of like refine the pitch. It was my first time pitching that many times in a row, because anytime someone would come up to the booth, we would, give our pitch. So it was cool to see, even over the course of the event, we were kind of refining the pitch and seeing what was resonating with people. So it was like rapid fire kind of.
It was great. You learned.
Yeah, we learned a lot just from that event. And then being up on the stage was really awesome too, and seeing everybody else's pitch. I'm actually still in contact with a couple of teams from
other schools.
Pitch Madness. Yeah,
oh, that's great. Mm-hmm. What was it like when you won? Were you surprised?
I was very surprised. Yeah, and it was cool. Everybody kind of at the end made a lot of awesome contacts there too, just from pitching and people in the audience. So that was really great.
So since that time, you've been involved in some like national accelerator programs, and you really are taking off with your business. Can you tell us about some of those?
After that program, we were in the Target Incubator in the summer of 2020. So that's when we expanded into, we're developing wheelchair clothing and sensory-friendly clothing and all of that. And with the help of Target, I mean, that was invaluable to be able to lay in that supply chain. So after that program, then we moved on to the Halcyon Incubator. And so that's in Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
So I actually just got back. I was living for 5 months in a house that belonged to the first Secretary of the Navy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was really cool, with 7 other social impact entrepreneurs. And it was all about building a sustainable business, but using some different metrics because we want to have an impact. And so our measure of success looks slightly different than a traditional for-profit.
So you gave me some clues about some next things that are coming, but tell us where you're heading next.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting a huge batch of inventory in September. We have really exciting sensory-friendly collections and wheelchair-friendly collections that are going to come out by the end of the year. So we're super excited for that, to be able to start filling these gaps in adaptive clothing. So those are kind of the next big things. We're about to close our pre-seed round, which is exciting. Yeah, moving forward.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining me, and congrats again on your success, and best wishes going forward.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, we are back. So thank you to Lynn and Erica Cole for that video, and congratulations. It's great to see Erica being so successful going forward. All right, now the moment we've been waiting for. I'd like to bring Aparna Grover back to announce the winners. Thank her again for putting this program on this evening. Aparna?
Hey, Bruce. Thank you, everyone. I was just done. What great business ideas, everyone, and great pitches. So truly impressed with the passion and all the work done by the students so far. And now the moment that we all have been waiting for. So the third place, there's a tie between 3 universities and 3 teams. So Team CAPNOS from Michigan State University, Phyesta Simulations LLC from IIT, and Team Bridges LLC from University of Chicago. Congratulations. The second place goes to Team Sprayer Mods from University of Iowa. Congratulations. You won $1,500. The first place goes to Team Natrion from University of Illinois. Congratulations to a very well-deserved team. You won $2,500. And the 4th to 9th place, the other universities, Northwestern, Econ Genetics, DePaul University, Parkster, Team Marquette University, Team New Jenny, and Washington University in St. Louis, Integra Medical Solutions team. Congratulations to you too, and you all have won $500. So for the third place, there's a tie. So we'll divide the money with all the 3 teams, and we'll reach out to you for that. And yeah, congratulations to all of you, everyone. Well deserved. What a great competition. I'll ask the first place winning team to say a few words. So Team Natrion from University of Illinois.
I don't know what to say. Thank you all very much for putting on an amazing event. Obviously, my first time doing this, but yeah, it was a great experience, and enjoyed it all. Everybody, all the pitches were so amazing. I learned so much today. I'm definitely going to link up with some people, and yeah, thank you all, and of course Stephanie and the TEC and the University of Illinois for this opportunity as well.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, huge congratulations, Alex. I see Stephanie's got that U of I flag in the background again. So definitely a lot of school spirit here this evening. So thanks once again. This is a wrap. Part of the Iowa video showed Pitch Madness from last summer. So hopefully that'll give us a vision of what we'll be back doing next year. So stay tuned. We hope to see you all in person next summer, 2022, for our 4th Pitch Madness, where we hope to, again, have 4 teams from each school presenting their ideas in an exhibit hall format, and then a final winning team from each school doing a live presentation. We definitely have several more schools, Purdue, Notre Dame, Northern Illinois, that couldn't attend this year, that are talking about joining us next year. So it could be a huge event. And I've thrown out the challenge that maybe we could rent Wintrust Arena for the event. So there's the big challenge for next year. But once again, thank you all for joining us tonight. Congratulations to all the students. Thank you so much to all the judges. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and hopefully we'll see you all next year.